All right, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us. My name's Sarah, I'm with Federal Resources. We have Tim here from Boston Dynamics. Tim's going to do a demonstration of the Spot robot for us today. Boston is a partner of Federal Resources, and I have a few things to run through before we start our demo. First, you are muted as participants, so if you have something to say, you have the chat feature on the right-hand side that you can type in and all participants can see. If you'd like to ask a question, we ask that you use the Ask a Question button at the bottom of your screen, which we will read at the end of the presentation and review all questions together. And then you'll also see at the bottom of your screen a Request a Quote button. If you'd like more information about what you see today about Federal Resources or Boston Dynamics, just click on that Request a Quote button and we'll get you more information. We appreciate that you joined. Federal Resources is a solutions provider to the military, our DoD, federal government, and state and local customers. We like to bring innovative technology to our customers and to the field. With our rapid procurement solutions and our partners, we look to assist our customers with their missions. So with that, I'll kick it off to Tim and let him start his presentation.
Great. Thanks, Sarah. I appreciate the quick introduction. As you mentioned, if there's any questions that come up as we go through, feel free to put it in the Ask a Question button, and I'll address those at the end. So really what I wanted to do today was give a real brief history on Boston Dynamics for those that may be in attendance that don't have a whole lot of familiarity. After that, I'll give a little bit more background on Spot, our quadruped platform. We'll talk about some applications that are common in the industry, and then review some of the payloads that assist with those applications. And as mentioned at the end, we'll go over any questions that there may be. So to start a little bit, for those that aren't familiar with Boston Dynamics, a lot of people are through our YouTube videos. But what many people don't know is that we've been around and been in business for over 28 years. The first 2 decades of our existence, we were predominantly working on DARPA contracts where we were building small robotic builds, 1-off, 5-off, maybe 10-off robot builds that solved a very specific use case. Oftentimes those were a low technology readiness level, somewhere in the 5 or to 6 range, and we were really looking at how quadrupeds and how bipedal motion could be used in different environments. Over the last decade, our focus has really been on a few things. It's been increasing the technology readiness of our robots and also scaling down the size. Some of our early designs, such as LS3 or Big Dog, were 800-pound robots designed to carry 400 pounds of load through a battlefield. But our latest generation Spot is designed to work in environments where humans more traditionally travel. This is showing Spot in a home environment, not necessarily where it's used today, but the type of environment that it can go into. Recently, we've really been focused on designing Spot for mass production. So we have, since going on sale in June of this year, or of 2020, we now have over 425 robots out in the world, and we have a capacity of producing about 1,000 units per year right now, so that it can really be scaled to whatever operations you have. The main problem that people are using Spot for is really to collect data and to perform hazardous, maybe remote inspections in these types of environments that traditionally have been built for humans, or humans have a very easy time operating in. So Spot is a safe platform that allows for efficient entry into different antagonistic terrains, and it's also a very predictable platform that you can rely on regardless of what your mission is. Really, as mentioned, the main thing that we look at is the safety aspect. It's removing humans, removing personnel from these dangerous, maybe radioactive, explosive environments, and allowing a robot to collect data and identify risk from a distance. Really, we feel Spot is a UGV platform that's the right tool for any job. It has 360-degree perception, so at any time it's sensing the world around it, and I'll show that off here in a little bit. But it's sensing the world around it to avoid obstacles, to adjust itself to dynamic terrain. You can also perform spots and do things with autonomy. So there is a base kind of autonomy stack included in Spot. So if you want Spot to autonomously navigate space, that is feasible as well. And really what most of our customers in defense and public safety love about Spot is its ability to be customized. We have an open API. We have a 30-pound payload capacity so that you can either integrate one of our sensors, one of our payload partners' sensors, or any third-party sensor that you see fit for the mission. So I'm going to run through a couple videos here to demonstrate Spot's motion and its ability. So we started to work with some early pilot customers in 2019, and Mass State Police is one of those that many people are familiar with. We use them worked with them as a beta customer to really understand what the unique needs are that they had and what public safety customers would have. They comment on a few things. They said their traditional robots, their wheeled and tracked robots, had three main issues. One is they could only travel on flat surfaces, so they couldn't go upstairs, they couldn't go on rocky terrain such as this, and they could not self-right. The other big thing was they couldn't open doors. And so, we took that feedback and really looked to ensure that Spot was able to accomplish all those three tasks. So, you can see, hopefully the video is coming across well, but you can see Spot navigating on various terrains, whether it's rocky terrains, sand. It can go upstairs, it can go into mud, small puddles of water, and really traverse over any environment that people do today. How it's doing that is through 5 cameras that are in its body. So this is a YouTube video that you may have seen of Spot. And what's on top here is actually what Spot is seeing. So it's taking a point cloud of the environment around it so that it can properly plan its footsteps, plan how it's moving through an environment, and successfully get through that environment. So if there's an obstacle under 12 inches, Spot will see that as an obstacle. It will automatically adjust its gait to step on or step over that obstacle to avoid it. If it sees an obstacle that's larger than that, it will use its obstacle avoidance to automatically go around it. And the key there is the operator is not doing any of those tasks. Spot's doing that all internally and making those decisions on itself, so the operator can keep their mind on the mission at hand. To cover some of the public safety use cases that we're seeing, I have a short list here that really encompasses what a lot of either federal government, DoD, or public safety customers are looking at Spot for. It comes down to putting a robot into a dangerous environment as opposed to putting a human in that environment. Could include ISR tasks, it could include barricaded suspect response, EOD or hazmat applications, and then a lot of people are investigating how can Spot and added autonomy stacks be used to do some natural disaster search and rescue response, as well as 3D laser scanning of crime scenes or certain environments. So to go into a couple of our use cases and how people are using Spot today, one that I wanted to highlight is the NYPD. They've been working with Spot since earlier this summer, and predominantly to date, they've been fielding it for response to active shooter or barricaded suspect response. They're sending Spot into these environments to make a safer and more efficient entry and understand really what's going on inside. They do not have the spot arm yet, which I'll get into later. But adding the spot arm will really allow them to enter doors and get into more and more locations. This is a quote from one of the officers that's been working with Spot. And aside from maybe Frank not mentioning a robotic dog or Spot specifically, I really love this quote. It really sums up what Boston Dynamics is after. Our mission is to create robots that positively impact society. And it really doesn't get much better for us than to see our robots used to help save lives and keep people out of harm's way. This video here is an ISR exercise that was conducted by one of our solution partners. That partner focuses on gesture control for Spot. So in this case, that wrist-worn device that was on the person is controlling Spot, and it's also controlling this team of drones. So this is showing how Spot could be used in an ISR or a tactical situation. They've also integrated Spot with a TAC plugin, so it can work with ATAC. And they've done a number of custom payload developments to allow for this drone Spot teaming to be successful. Their gesture control unit allows these tactical units to keep their eyes and hands on the mission at hand and not necessarily need our out-of-the-box controller. So this is a good example of how some teams are using Spot. To talk about some of the payloads that Boston Dynamics offers and are also available on the market, one of our primary payloads that is used by public safety is what's called our Spot Cam plus IR. So Spot comes with 5 stereo cameras, as I mentioned. That's what it's using for obstacle avoidance. But it doesn't give you very good situational awareness. So the Spot Cam is a 360-degree color camera that also has a pan tilt mechanism that has a 30x optical zoom RGB camera and a FLIR Tau 2 thermal camera on it, so that you can stream 360-degree imagery. You can pan or tilt or zoom in on something of interest, and you can also get thermal data back, all through our tablet controller. So that's a very common payload that a lot of our customers are using in the space. Another common payload is the FLIR C360. So this was initially developed for drones. We've worked with FLIR to equip this on the back of Spot so that you can send Spot into an area, get multi-gas sensing. I think it has 8 gases that it can sense. So depending on the environment you go into, you can get a gas reading, and all that's streamed directly over the tablet and through the Spot application on that control device. I mentioned at the beginning that kind of one of the biggest benefits that our customers are seeing is with Spot is that you're not just limited to the payloads that we are creating. We have an open API. We have 30 pounds of payload capacity. So it allows you to add any third-party payload that you may already have in use. We have a growing ecosystem of payload partners that are developing plug-and-play integrations for Spot and also integrating those into our controller application. So some of those include Leica, who makes 3D laser scanning devices such as the BLK2GO or the BLK360. Faro, who also makes 3D laser scanning hardware, and FLIR is another close partner of ours. We're also working with, some of our partners are working on various CBRN integrations as well. So, things like Smith, Drager, Anton Par. This video here is showing a Pendar X10 spectrometer. So this is a device that's used for chemical ID or narcotics ID. And this is just a video of that unit mounted on Spot in our lab to detect chemical substances. The other thing that Spot is flexible in is communications. So not only can you add any payload, we've also designed Spot to be comms agnostic. So out of the box, it comes with Wi-Fi technology, and that's how you communicate between the controller and Spot. But we've had customers deploy with a variety of communication strategies. So Spot's been deployed with persistent system MPU5s, with Ragent, with Silvus radios. We've also seen Spot used on the FirstNet network as well as other LTE networks, and then have partners that have developed TAC plugins for Spot, so that you can not only communicate with Spot, you can communicate with other team members that may be in the troop. So we felt this approach to comms was really important. As we were talking to early customers, everyone kind of has different comms strategy, and it's important to be flexible so that you can put whatever ConOps or whatever communication solution fits your ConOps. We do have also some partners that tie in command vehicles, so you could have an extended mesh network, a command vehicle, and then see inside and kind of see what Spot is doing on those monitors. So the next payload that I'll mention is the Spot arm. So really, Spot's core use is to be used as a mobile sensor platform. But an important piece of that is to start to interact with things that may be in the environment, and we do that through the Spot arm. So the arm is designed to allow you to open doors, allow you to pick objects, maybe push or drag objects. And really the key, what we've focused on, is to make the arm very easy to use. I often say that my 5-year-old daughter and my 75-year-old father can have picked up the Spot controller, and they've been controlling Spot within probably minutes. So I mean, it's very easy to use. All you're doing is pressing forward on the joystick, and Spot's doing everything else. The arm is a little more complex. I wouldn't necessarily say my 5-year-old has mastered it yet, but we try and make it as easy as possible. So in this video, you see Spot opening a door. What the user is doing is, on the tablet, they're identifying where the door handle is, they're identifying the direction that the hinges are, and then Spot will go through everything else autonomously. So all that other action was performed by Spot. In this case, the user pressed the drill on the tablet interface, and again, Spot is doing everything else fully autonomously, so that the user doesn't have to be an expert controller. It does take a little bit of time, but it's, I think, far easier based off the feedback we've heard from public safety customers than some of the traditional tracked and wheeled robot arms that they're currently using. So we're really excited for various people to try out the arm, which was just officially released for sale earlier this month in February. So from here, I'll answer any questions that you may have. We are looking at doing a demo with Federal Resources at their headquarters. I think it's going to be the week of March 22nd, and so if you want more information on that, I think you can hit the request a quote, and the Federal Resources team will make sure to get you the dates and details for that when it's available.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Tim. We have quite a few questions that we'll roll through. But as you mentioned, any questions that you have post this demonstration, you can contact your account rep. If you'd like more information on the demo that we're going to do in March, they will have that information. Or you can click request quote, which will go to the marketing team, and we'll communicate with the proper account rep. So if we start the questions, we have some here. That's great. The first is, with the DoD starting to look deeper into the use of laws, what is Boston's position on integration with laws onto the Spot platform?
With laws, did you say?
Laws, yeah, LAWS.
I'm not too familiar with the laws platform, so I'd probably have to get back to you on that.
This question came from our Chief Strategy Officer, Mike Russell, so I could invite him on stage with us and he could elaborate on it. I don't know, he might decline, but I'll try to invite him on stage. Let's see. All right, we'll move on to the next one. If Mike comes on stage, then we'll answer that question. The next is spot deconable and intrinsically safe?
No, so spot is IP54. So it can be washed down, and you can decon it. So we do have users that are putting spot into nuclear environments. You can apply water, apply soap to get off contamination, but it is not intrinsically safe or ATEX certified.
Thank you. Okay, Mike, go ahead.
You caught me eating lunch, Sarah. You eating lunch. Hey, no, the laws is lethal autonomous weapon system. And I know it's kind of somewhat of a controversial topic. A lot of nations are against it, but the U.S. I won't say has been super favorable. Kind of it's definitely kind of rides the party lines from time. People see the benefits of autonomous weapon systems as being a little bit safer from friendly fire or casualties in the field, but they also see it as kind of being a scary next step. So just wanted to hear maybe Boston's kind of take, or maybe you guys don't have a take on it, so to say, but on where your thoughts are on it.
No, we definitely have a take on it. So we've had these discussions with various people throughout the DoD, and our stance is pretty firm. We do not want spot to be used to harm or intimidate people. So as far as weaponizing spot, that's against the terms of use of spot.
Okay.
We really, as I said, our mission is to really enhance the lives of society overall, and we feel that weaponizing crosses that line, but it can be used for a variety of use cases, and I think a lot of the DoD groups would agree that the ISR and the different hazmat application spots being used for can really help them.
Yeah, no, we've seen a big push on the CBRN space for them to get some kind of ISR look. And, with the use of a UAV, they've always had issues with trying to collect a sample and blowing everything around with kind of the backwash from a UAV. But, launching a UAV, so you get that ISR feed, but then being able to run a sensor into a cloud or an explosive where explosion was, is a really good combination that could probably fit the bill for a lot of what the JPO is looking at. So appreciate that color. So.
Yeah.
All right, Sarah, take me off screen. Thanks, Tim. Thanks for answering that. I appreciate it.
Okay, perfect. Next question. Well, I'll save that one for the end. What's the run and range of spot? And is there any way to mount disruption tools to him?
Yeah, so Spot's runtime is 90 minutes. It's walks at around 1.5 or 1.6 meters per second. So in theory, out of a battery use, if you're walking, you can get around 7.5 kilometers.
And what about mounting disruption to him?
Yeah, I mean, so our terms of use is focused, really specifically on not harming or intimidating humans, and not weaponizing the robot. So I can talk further about how that fits with you guys offline.
Okay, perfect. How well does it do in wet weather?
Yeah, great question. The Spot's IP54 rated, so it can withstand rain. It can withstand a washdown. It doesn't. High pressure washdown is going to start to potentially seep into it, so we don't recommend high pressure washdown. As far as puddles go, Spot water is an interesting thing. Spot sees puddles a lot of times as the ground. And so you may see a little bit of different behavior with Spot when it's walking through a larger puddle, but it can take water submerging up to its first elbow joint without a problem.
Which is what into the elbow joint?
Gosh, that's a great question. Probably about 6. I wouldn't go in puddles more than 6 inches.
Okay. Who is Spot's competitor, and why is Spot different or superior?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, Spot has, I think, a lot of competitors of what people are traditionally using. As a mobile data collection tool, people have traditionally used wheeled and tracked robots. And, as dating back to our initial feedback with the Mass State Police, I think the biggest differentiator there is on the fact that it can go upstairs very easily, that it can go on more difficult terrains. And then the arm, I think, is really a game changer in bringing simplicity of control to an arm. So that's something that I think shines above the rest. Others in various inspection applications say that drones are a competitor of Spot. And, in some cases, those use cases will overlap. The benefits of Spot are a longer battery life, a higher payload capacity, and the ability to operate indoors. But drones also, I think, have their purpose in various missions. Lastly, if you look at the quadruped technology, I think there are some new quadrupeds that are coming to the market. Boston Dynamics' strength really lies in the fact that we've been doing this for 28 years. We are also mass producing these. I think we're the only quadruped manufacturer out there that has, over 100. We have 425 out in the field today. And I think we can hold that title as the only one that's mass producing these. And that also has the service and support network set up to really fulfill, quadrupeds.
Awesome. Thank you, Tim. Does it have a system to communicate through the robot?
Sorry, I missed. Does it have what to communicate through the robot?
Speaker.
So the Spot Cam or the Spot Cam plus IR does have a two-way audio connection so that you can communicate with the controller. Spot natively without that payload does not.
Great. Which drone platforms does your payload support? Are any NDAA approved?
So, the drone development work that I showed was really a custom integration designed by one of our solution partners. So, I think
describing their attributes.
Oh, hold on, wait.
Also, sorry, I think
I'm gonna turn my speaker off and Larry in here just chit chatting with me. Don't give me any technology. Look.
I'm not positive. I think that was a Shield IQ drone system that was being used in that video I showed. But it would depend on. It would be a custom integration by a solution partner.
Great, thank you. This one I think that you covered. I'll mention it again just because I think it is important. But the question was whether you could provide an overview of the programming and architecture, but you said that it had an open API, and so that you can look for other technologies that can be integrated into the operating system. Yeah,
so it's a Python-based API is the software language that we use for the API. The Spot app is an Android-based application. So you can integrate a variety of different payloads through that Python-based API.
Great. And Joe asked with whom they would discuss new payload options. Joe, what I would do is get in contact with your account rep at Federal Resources or click on Request a Quote, and we'll directly communicate through our rep and Tim, and we can talk about specific payload options. Okay, next question. I think we just have a couple more. Can it navigate via GPS waypoints?
So natively, Spot doesn't, or out of the box, Spot doesn't have a GPS built in. As mentioned, we do have partners that have created an ATAC plugin, so that could be used to do GPS-based waypoint creation. And you could also integrate your own GPS device to do that. But out of the box, Spot doesn't navigate via GPS coordinates.
Very good. I think our last question is when you expect Spot to take over the world.
You know, that's a great story. It's, you know, I think entertainment, Hollywood has created this perception that robots are going to take over the world. We hope that there's a lot of robots in the world, but, you know, we see them as only helping humans and helping society. I don't think, you know, the robots we build, I wouldn't say are smart enough to take over, and we just see them for the next several decades being a tremendous help to our society and saving lives and helping people.
That's fantastic. Another question actually just popped up. Can you expand on how you protect payloads, including camera and robot arm, from falls or rollovers?
Yeah, roll cages is highly recommended with any payload design because, you know, Spot is a quadruped; it will fall over, and so having a roll cage. All our payloads come with roll cages. Most of our third-party partners do the same. But any payload that you'd add, we'd highly would suggest a roll cage.
Very good. Those are all the questions that we had. I thought you did a great job presenting Spot to our attendees today. Oh, there's another one. It's the same question. It says, let me rephrase. We have payloads that might be of interest to your firm. Should I reach out to Tim? Joe, yes. Through Federal Resources, we can get you in contact with Tim. Okay. So that's good. So again, just to reiterate, we appreciate Tim and Boston Dynamics joining us all today. Any more information, the recording will be sent after the presentation to all attendees. You can share with your coworkers, quote, or contact your account rep for more information. We really appreciate all of your time.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.